This week on Game, buckle up and get those tires spinning as we set off for Colorado with Forza Horizon. Grab your guns and get ready for a gory experience with Serious Sam. And the latest and greatest updates from our friends in Japan. So strap in, because it's gonna be one hell of a ride on Game. Hello there, guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of your weekly dose of Game. Now, today on the show, there's lots of bang, plenty of room, and sufficient oomph that'll have you salivating and wanting more. Well, we'll be starting with some full throttle action, but first, the digital world is a constantly changing place, and each week the gaming stratosphere evolves with every development. So, to keep you abreast of the latest happenings, here's a look at this week's headlines.
And what better way to kick things off than with some good news from a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars fans, a little short on intergalactic credits, will be glad to know that the Old Republic will be going free to play. Yay! BioWare has recently confirmed that the waning MMO will be getting a much-needed shot in the arm, announcing an all-new free mode which will allow anyone to be part of the Empire without having to pay a subscription. Now, the good news is that with the change, non-subscribers will be allowed to upgrade their characters all the way to level 50 and enjoy the Star Wars universe. Woohoo! But showing us that there's no such thing as a free lunch, players on this skint list will have to deal with a couple of restrictions, including fewer player slots and limited class types to choose from. But the worst news is that even features like sprinting will be locked for free players. So unless you're looking to roleplay a one-legged bounty hunter hobbling after your target, your enjoyment may vary a little. Oh well, something's better than nothing, hey? Anyway, staying on the free-to-play scene, looks like Microsoft have found a new way to connect with their audience. Subliminal advertising.
These ultrabooks contain secret files.
In a move that would make Edward Bernays himself stand up for a slow clap, Microsoft and Intel have announced an all-new interactive commercial to sell their line of Ultrabook laptops. Titled Discovered, this game places you in the shoes of a bushy-tailed, up-and-coming Hollywood star looking to make it up the rungs in this tough-as-nails industry. But things aren't so easy in Tinseltown. Standing between you and your dreams, you'll have to pay your dues with blood, sweat, and your share of exaggerated hand gestures. But remember, just believe in yourself, because you're awesome and totally good looking.
I could tell you want to get the crowd hyped.
With celebrity appearances from a couple of Hollywood types and real-world advice from that redhead who's really good at jiggling his bits, how could you go wrong?
Let's go, baby!
And finally, closing out the video game newsstand this week, great news for metalheads the world over, as French video game studio Ubisoft takes music group The Black Eyed Peas to court. At stake, over $1 million. Now, the professional prancers are being sued for their failure to cooperate with the release of an iOS game, which was supposed to be produced under the same contract that gave us the Black Eyed Peas experience. Ubisoft apparently submitted the game for the Peas approval in March, but have still yet to receive a response from the band. Aw, what are they waiting for? Let's get it started. Let's get it started here.
So now that we've established that I can't actually sing, $1 million worth of iOS apps is a hell of a lot of downloads. But what would I do with $1 million? Buy a fancy car, maybe? A Lamborghini LP560-4 in white, please? Anyone? No one? Damn. Anyway, I guess I'll just have to be content with all the fancy new digital rides I can get in my Forza collection. But I didn't even get a chance to get a closer look, because that's Frag's job. Here he is with the review of Forza Horizon.
Hey, and a very warm welcome to Fraggy's Gaming Den. And in this edition of Play, we're in cruise control as we put one of this year's most eagerly anticipated driving games up for a thorough vehicle inspection. Welcome to Forza Horizon. A newly launched spin-off of one of the pillars of console racing, The Forza games have been at the forefront of hardcore simulation racing ever since the series first appeared on the original Xbox back in 2005. But despite being one of the best racers of this generation, the Forza games have always focused on delivering a realistic simulation experience. Great for the petrol heads among us, but not so great if you're just looking to drive fast cars without getting into all that technical mumbo-jumbo. Now in Forza Horizon, Microsoft are taking a bit of a risk, with Horizon under the wing of a new developer, UK's Playground Games, and boy has the series changed. Stepping away from the world's most famous racing circuits, right into the open world setting of the Colorado countryside. But for a series synonymous with hardcore simulation, is this new casual, friendly, dubstep-infused joyride a bit of a flat tire? Or do we have a brand new trailblazer on our hands? Well, we made a few phone calls and managed to score a wristband to the auto event of the year as we wait for the drop with Forza Horizon.
Congratulations, you made the heats. That's an access sticker, a map, and a pass to the qualifier events. Welcome to Horizon.
Okay, so first off, like I said before, the biggest change in Forza Horizon is the switch from doing laps to racing in a fully realized open world. Now, I was initially a little skeptical about this new direction, but the good news is that tearing it up on the open roads of Colorado is pretty fantastic, with lots of detail in your surroundings. Set against the backdrop of a music festival in the desert, expect lots of bass as you take on a series of competitors who all look like they've just walked off the set of the Fast and Furious.
Adrenaline junkies getting their fix.
Now, we've all seen this before in other arcade-centric titles like Test Drive Unlimited. You know, the whole lifestyle aspect of it. Games I endearingly refer to as douchebag simulators. And while Horizon does share the same aspirational story element, with beautiful women punctuating your rise to the top, the difference here comes in the actual racing, as you organically move from event to event, earning wristbands in the process.
Congratulations, a green wristband? This opens up a lot of new events for you.
The game comes with a great assortment of on- and off-road race types, from straight-out sprints down to street events where you'll have to contend with oncoming traffic. Progress a little and you'll unlock some unique race types against a plane and even a hot air balloon. Pretty sick. Now, aside from the events, when it comes to the open world portion, just driving from point A to point B provides so many unique opportunities to gain fame.
Just found a Horizon speed trap. Drive past it as fast as you can.
As you raise your reputation, doing drifts and narrowly avoiding crashes. Or if you like cruising, no problem. The world is littered with hidden discount signs you can smash for some cheaper tune-ups. Down to hidden barns, warehouses, each with their own special rides.
You have stumbled across a very special car here. She needs a little attention, but thank God I'm here to give it to her.
And when you're bored of all of that, you can even signal one of the game's many computer-controlled opponents for an impromptu face-off on the Colorado mountains. All while bumping out some choice tunes from one of the best soundtracks so far this year.
Don't go away or you'll miss this.
Sweet. Now, so far, so good. But if you're a race fan who's expecting Horizon to be, well, Forza 4, I mean just with open roads, well, the bad news is that it's not. First up, cars. Now, while Forza 4 came with a staggering 500 plus cars right out of the box, Horizon's focus on supercars means a much smaller car list, with only 145 cars to choose from. Also, the sneaky thing is that the developers are announcing monthly car update packs, slowly reselling you all the cars that you're used to from the earlier games. In addition, technically, while the game looks amazing, the switch to the open world means that the silky smooth 60 frames per second frame rate of the old games has been cut in half. Now, most gamers probably won't care too much, but side by side, the changes are definitely noticeable. You know, when the dust settles, Forza Horizon is still a bloody fantastic racing release and a wonderful example of arcade racing done right, even if at times it really doesn't feel like an arcade racer at all. It's really easy to get into for casual race fans, and with a few changes to the difficulty sliders, comes with just about enough meat to satisfy even more ardent race fans looking for a little open road action. Now the focus on using paid microtransactions for additional cars and even things like booster packs for double experience points is really annoying. But if you're willing to overlook that minute outburst of greed, then Horizon is one auto festival that anyone who likes looking really good while going really fast should definitely check out.
Yep, we're done. Close the gate.
It's generally accepted that the UK is the home of motor racing, so it only really made sense that UK-based Playground Games were the ones to make this Forza edition, even if it is set in Colorado, USA. Now, apparently, over 50,000 still photos were taken to help map out and design the open world. Incredible. Well, I think it's time for us to refuel. We'll be back in 2, but don't change that channel. Because when we return, we go all out with our guns blazing with a new look at the highly anticipated Medal of Honor. And it's going to get gory with some games that will blow your mind, quite literally. Stick with us on Game. It's time to earn your place on the battlefield. The war continues. Pick up your weapons and join the fight in Medal of Honor Warfighter. Seriously, some guys just want to watch the world burn. Some amazing multiplayer footage. Now, for this edition of Medal of Honor, developers Danger Close decided to develop their own multiplayer using DICE's Frostbite 2 engine. Well, it's definitely looking good. Before you put those guns down, though, it's time for us to take up arms once more as we get serious. Seriously gory. If you're a fan of blowing stuff up and watching the yucky bits fly around and splatter your visor, yeah, this one's for you. It's time for Guns and Gore.
Hey, I hope everyone's primed for some frantic fun in the sun. Because in this week's edition of Guns and Gore, it's back to Egypt with Serious Sam 3, Jewel of the Nile. It's video gaming's original bad boy back to take center stage one more time. A throwback to the golden age of first-person shooters. You know, when men were men and dodged bullets without all this fancy cover stuff. Get ready for a lot of plus back and mouse 1 as you shake that ass like a pro, mowing down waves of demons in the process. Kersplat! Now for this expansion to work, you'll need the full game. But packed in this bit of DLC, we've got 3 brand new levels, including a beautiful visit to the Temple of Isis. What's more, look out for Sam and his mates as they take to the skies for a little jetpack joyride. Strap-on fun for everyone. From the pyramids of Giza to a couple of geezers of the military variety as we buckle up with the boys of Black Ops 2. On the menu, a little taste as to what fans can expect when the game hits the shelves next month. Set in the future, we're looking at all sorts of shiny new flying contraptions, even a few warm-blooded ones as you hit the skies running in your very own wingsuit. With all new perks like adaptive camouflage for that tragically hip ultra waif look, and even a couple of horses thrown in, well, just because. Hope you got your milk and cream ready, because with so many ways to kill, the tea bags are loaded and ready to go. And last on our list of the best in bloodletting, a rebirth of a gaming classic. The horrifying HD makeover from the Church of the Keko Demons. From Mars to Earth and into Hell. It's time to go deeper underground in Doom 3 BFG Edition. The baby in id Software's holiday lineup this year, this is Doom 3 like you really haven't seen it before. Now with the new release, look out for the Lost Missions, a collection of 7 levels especially made for the BFG edition. Also keen in this re-release, we've got an all-new dizzy-inducing stereoscopic 3D mode, as well as full versions of Doom and Doom 2 for the 3 of you out there who still haven't yet played it. Now, sadly, all the content prior to Doom 3 has not received any of the HD love, and is still presented with pixels the size of my fist. But if you're looking for a devilish descent into one of video gaming's most influential titles, a rebuilt Doom 3 seems like a perfect start.
The same Doom we all love, with all the new bells and whistles in the latest BFG edition, and it's sure to be a hit with the fans, or a great package deal if you're a noob to the series. Or maybe you're looking for a new game to get into. Then maybe Defiance is the key. The guys at Trion Worlds have created an MMO tied to a TV series. The real clincher for the game, though, is the open world PvP, which frankly looks gobsmacking. But I'll leave it to the guys from Trion to explain as we go inside Defiance.
Player versus player in Defiance is going to be like nothing console players have ever seen before.
One of the great things about our player versus player gameplay is that we have open world PvP.
It's framed around the idea of what we call Shadow War. It takes place across this huge, open, dynamic world where thousands of players can be online at once.
So at any point in time, someone who's participating in co-op gameplay could see other people shooting each other in the face and just decide to hop right in.
So, you know, we're not going to limit you to the small instances or the small maps that you're used to. We really give you this huge playground.
You're not constrained by the normal boundaries that you would see with map design.
So while you may start out on the coast, you could very well work your way inland, maybe to a farm, and then even further onto that, up into the mountains. So, you know, as you're out and you're doing PvP, you know, other people can be out, they're still doing missions, you still see all of that. You're not yanked from the game. It's not a different experience, it's the same experience, and for us, it's extremely exciting. So in other shooters, what shooter players are used to is they play the campaign. They get to the end, they decide to try out multiplayer. When they get to multiplayer, it's a huge reset button. There is no reset button in Defiance.
So as you advance your character, you unlock new, you pick up new weapons, you unlock new abilities. All of this carries with you, whether you're participating in our co-op gameplay or in our player versus player gameplay.
You can also unlock special PvP outfits. And these are cosmetic and allow you to show off to other players just how good you are and what you've accomplished.
So when you're standing next to your friends, you can literally tell them, look, I'm better than you.
All of our large-scale PvP maps and our overworld PvP allow you to use vehicles which take more players and also have some offensive capabilities.
You can use something like the Cerberus. You can hop in it with your buddies and have a mobile weapon platform. If you want to hop into a transport and have a mobile spawn point, you're going to give your team the edge. PvP in Defiance is going to be refreshing. It's going to be, a new experience for the player base. It's going to be something that shooter players haven't done before.
We're taking the strengths of being an MMO game and really just opening up the scope of what we can offer in PvP.
We're so excited about this because we feel like it's something that console players have never seen before. This huge open world where player versus player conflict can happen anywhere, at any time. You can jump in and compete in these large-scale wars.
At the end of the day, Defiance is an all-you-can-eat buffet of PvP deliciousness. He's happy.
Very impressive, and it looks like a game that you could really sink your teeth into. It's been called revolutionary by many because of how it's not just a spin-off from the TV series, but actually because the two complement each other. Out in April next year, the concurrent launch dates will be one to mark in your calendar, and definitely one we'll follow up on. Right then, it's time for us to take a break, but stick around because when we return, we take a short trip to check out what's new with our friends in Japan. That's up next on Game. Watching Game, and you are with me, Kelly. Now, hopefully we've given you plenty to look forward to over the past 20 minutes or so, but we're not done just yet. So for now, it's time for us to cross the seas, where fans of old-school Sega arcade games will soon have reason to rejoice once more. It's time to visit our friends in Japan.
Kicking out the jams as we turn towards the land of the rising sun. In our look at what's bubbling in the otaku capital of the world, we begin with a throwback to the days of arcades gone by. Fancy a round of Virtua Fighter, or maybe a little kickabout with a couple of the world's most angular footballers. Well, if you were into dropping tokens back during the early 90s, you'll definitely remember Sega's legendary Model 2 board. The arcade system which was the driving force behind a whole generation of token-chomping hits. Well, the good news is that in Japan at least, this classic is making a comeback, with Sega's Model 2 collection out on both the Xbox Live and PlayStation networks. Now, so far, 5 old-school titles have been green-lighted for re-release, but the amazing thing is that all the games will ship with online multiplayer, allowing you to get your arcade fix, competing right from your living room. No word yet on when these titles will make the trip out of Japan, but when we know, you'll know. Moving on, looking to drum up some interest in their recently released brawler, Namco Bandai have teamed up with a couple of guys who take their cosplay a little more seriously than most people. Yup, the boys behind a Tekken Tag Tournament 2 have produced a short film, just another day in the life of a martial arts superstar. Produced in conjunction with a couple of fight fans from the action choreography house known as Wild Stunts, look out for the likes of Baek Du-san and Lee Chao-la. A display of Jagger-like moves, complete with oft-timed English dubs.
I'm just here to have fun by killing.
Nice. And finally, lonely gamers suffering with carpal tunnel syndrome? Well, have I got just the thing for you. Setting feminism back a good 50 years, Tecmo, the guys who introduced jiggle physics to their line of fighting games, has released a series of 3D mouse pads. Now, I wouldn't recommend these as an anniversary present, but recreated in all their full-figured beauty, we've got the likeness of Ayane, Hitomi, and Kasumi. Their well-endowed bosoms providing some much-needed ergonomic support for those long days in front of the computer spent doing those one-handed surfing tricks. Now, unfortunately, these licensed Double Ds are only available in Japan and don't come cheap, with each mousepad roughly working out to be about $50 US. Yikes. But hey, it's not like you're saving that money for a date or anything, right?
Guys, seriously? Can we just change that graphic? And we're going to wrap up the show before you guys get too distracted with whatever's going on behind me. Remember, espnstar.com/game for all past episodes, facebook.com/ESSGame. And then, of course, there's Twitter @ESSGame if you want to follow us. I'm going to leave you with all these shots because you clearly don't want to see me. I'll see you next week.